Alright, what's good everybody? It's your boy Keenan. Welcome to today's vlog. Tonight the Fiesta Bowl will be played between number 5 Kansas State and number 4 Oregon. I think this game is the battle to see who will place second place overall at the end of the year. Especially last night when Florida got spanked by Louisville in the Sugar Bowl. And obviously I believe for the national championship, the winner of that game, the loser, will definitely bump back a couple of slots, which gives Oregon and Kansas State an opportunity to get second place overall. I know it's not what they wanted. They was looking to make it to a national championship, and it was a disappointing year coming towards the second half of the season for Kansas State. They got killed by Baylor, while Oregon lost to Stanford at home. Stanford ended up winning the Pac-12 championship. Now this is a good consolation prize for both these two teams. This is going to be an outstanding matchup because both these two teams are evenly matched. It's pretty much the battle of Oregon's talent and speed against the determination, the discipline, and strength of Kansas State. They don't have the talent like Oregon, but they still have good disciplined players. And I'm going to talk about both these teams and give you a breakdown of both teams. Starting with Kansas State, their defense. I'm going to start with their defense. The defense allows 21 points per game. They're led by linebacker Arthur Brown, 91 tackles this season and a couple of interceptions. And they have 3 studs in the defensive back with Ty Zimmerman, Nigel Malone, and Alan Chapman, each with 5 interceptions, top 5 in the Big 12 Conference. They have an outstanding secondary. And in the interior line, talking about D-ends, Adam Davis, 7 sacks this season, and Meshek Williams, 9.5 sacks, both in one of the top Big 12 sackers this season, and they have a pretty good defensive line. Now, offensively for Kansas, they average 40 points per game, led by Colin Klein, one of the Heisman Trophy candidates. He ended up making it to New York, and he had a clear shot of winning the Heisman Trophy, but Texas A&M's Johnny Manziel just outperformed him overall this season, especially with that big win, that big upset against Alabama in the second half of the season, and that pretty much helped Johnny Manziel edge out Colin Klein and Manti Te'o for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. But Colin Klein is still a good quarterback. He actually improved a little bit in throwing the football, as well as he's still doing his thing running the football as well. And he has a couple, one particular weapon at running back position, Hubert. He's a good running back to help complement Colin Klein in the run game. Now for Oregon, they have an outstanding offense led by quarterback Marcus Mariota. He's another dual threat. He's a better passing quarterback than Colin Klein, but probably some people might think not as good as a runner, not as tough as a runner as Colin Klein, but he is still a big-time dual threat and a better athlete than Colin Klein, in my opinion. He's having a great year. All Pac-12 performer. He had an outstanding season. He has some great weapons behind him, and Anthony Thomas, one of the most electrifying, probably the most electrifying player in college football, as well as Doak Walker finalist Kenyon Barner. He had a great year, rushed for over 1,600 yards, and he still has 1 game left, and it really depends on this Oregon rushing attack. Now on the defensive side, they have a couple of good players in the interior linemen. Start with their defensive tackle Taylor Hart, 8 sacks this season. That is good for a defensive tackle, and they have a good senior defensive end in Deion Jordan. These two players are working well together in the defensive line, and they have a great senior linebacker in Kiko Alonso. He has 72 tackles and 4 interceptions. He's a good overall talented linebacker. He could definitely step back for passing defense, and he could definitely help support the run defense. He's a good player overall and one of the good leaders on that defensive side. And one player I need to talk about is sophomore ekpre-olomu. Sorry if I cannot pronounce his name right. He's a good defensive back, 14 pass breakups to go along with a couple of interceptions this season. He is a great defensive back, the best defensive back for the Oregon Ducks. Now the keys for this game: start with Oregon. Keep the tempo going on the offensive side. Keep going play after play, meaning fast-paced offense like they normally do with their speed, and that's going to definitely keep Kansas State off bounds unless they stay disciplined in their assignments. Now this is going to be a tough matchup for Oregon because they played against a good defense in Stanford, in which they lost and got spanked, and they're playing a good disciplined defense from Kansas State. This is going to be tough. They just need to keep that fast tempo and balance the offense just a little bit. Run the football like they normally do, one of the best rushing football teams in the nation, but they also also need to just fool the Kansas on Wildcat defense a little bit and throwing the football, and Marcus Mariota can definitely do that in this matchup. Now for Kansas State, they basically need to stick to their assignments and stop the run and slow it down. Pummel these guys a couple of times. That is going to be key in this matchup, and they have the players to do that. I named you so many players from that Kansas State defense, and I think they're going to work well in this matchup. They just need to attack and beat the offensive line. If you beat up that offensive line, Kenyon Barner and DeAnthony Thomas will have no place to run. Just basically, they just need to watch the tapes of recent seasons with DeAnthony Thomas and Kenyon Barner, as well as LaMichael James, when they ended up getting crushed because of those tough SEC defenses like LSU and Auburn. They just need to pay attention to those tapes, and I think they have just enough talent to do so in this matchup. Now, offensively, for Kansas State, they just need to pound the rock very hard and control the clock, control the time of possession. That is going to be extremely important for the Kansas State Wildcats. They do not want Oregon's offense to be on that field. Colin Klein just needs to manage that clock and keep the time rolling throughout the entire game, sticking with Kansas State's side and limiting the opportunities for Oregon in this matchup. Now defensively for Oregon, they just need to start commit some turnovers, and I think they're going to do pretty well. I think they have an improved defense compared to recent seasons. Even though they lost to Stanford, I still think they have a good defense overall. They have improved a lot. I'm really proud of these guys, and I think they're going to probably try to commit some turnovers against Kansas. But mainly they just need to stop Kansas State's run and put the ball in the hands of Colin Klein and the passing attack. He did improve this season, but I'm not overly convinced of how well he could perform just throwing the football. And if they put the pressure on him throwing the football, I think that will be all lights out for Kansas State in this matchup. Now for the winner of this game, I'm going to go with Oregon's talent, because they have way too much speed and the talent more than Kansas State, and I think that offense is just going to keep the tempo going in this matchup. But I think this is going to be a close, high-point game overall, but I'm going to have to go with Oregon over Kansas State. Now, next time to catch you guys is later on this week. We still have plenty of bowl games to talk about, and I will continue to give you individual previews of all the remaining bowl games of the 2012-2013 college football season. Thank you for watching this vlog. I'm your man, Keenan McCall. Beat East.